Good afternoon. Thank you guys for joining us. This is our last Welcome Wednesday of the summer. So as you log in, if you can, turn your cameras on so we can see you. I see Crisley already has her camera on. Let's see, so we'll give everybody a few minutes. Marissa's got hers on. How's everybody doing? So again, you'll be muted throughout the session, just like sessions previously. For those of you who might be joining us for the first time, you will be muted. But if you have a question, you can drop it in the chat box below. You can raise your hand. If you go to participants at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you should have an option to raise your hand as well. So don't hesitate to ask a question. Today we have Dean Sandifer with us. And we're going to be just talking a little bit about how you can start off your semester strong, what to do to get ready for orientation. I'm really just here to answer any questions you have. You have 2 weeks before orientation starts, less than that, about a week and a half now. So we started these, I feel like, forever ago. And here we are, 5 or 6 Welcome Wednesdays in, and we are 2 weeks out from orientation. You should have received your schedule earlier this week. So please make sure that you've received that. If you didn't, please reach out to me as soon as possible so that we make sure that you have that set up. So any questions you have about orientation, just let us know. So let's see. All right, we got a lot of you here today. So I just wanted to start off by saying, first and foremost, for the next week and a half, try to relax, right? Just relax, do the best you can. I know this is crazy circumstances that we're in, and we've talked about it week after week. But I think just taking advantage of the time that you have right now, the pharmacy school are really start on the 17th. You're going to have to hit the ground, and you should as much time now for yourself, for your family, for your friends, because it's going to get hectic very quickly, and you have a lot to transition to. So that is my biggest piece of advice. And I wanted to invite Dean Sandifer here today too, so that he could share any advice he has for incoming students. I know he has a lot of conversations with students, especially throughout their first year, about really your self-awareness of yourself throughout the program and kind of what you could be doing now to make sure that you are successful going through this first semester. So Dean Sandifer, if you have any advice for the students.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. I look forward to seeing you guys in class in a couple of weeks. I know that I think my class is your first class that you're going to be in. It's on a Monday. It's the first Monday back. So look forward to seeing you all there. But like Trish said, for the next few weeks, this is all about you taking time for yourself, because starting in 2 weeks, the next part of your journey starts. And many of you guys are gonna be surprised at the rigor of pharmacy school. Most students are, especially their first semester. So I encourage you to relax for the next few weeks, enjoy your downtime. My biggest piece of advice as you start the program, and I'll mention this again in orientation in a few weeks, is to not get behind. So many students don't realize, again, the rigor of pharmacy school, and you're going to be given lots of content. So as you enter the program, please stay on top of your material. If you need resources or if you need access to people, please reach out to myself or Trish or Justin, anyone on the student affairs team, so that we can help and assist you. Don't ever not ask the question, especially in your first year, because you're going to have lots of questions. And your families are probably going to have lots of questions. And that's something I always point out to parents, is for the next 4 years, you guys are sort of becoming part of our family. And in becoming part of our family, there's a lot of family obligations at school. So your family obligations that you traditionally have may have to go to the side a little bit, because you are going to have a 4 years of a rigorous scholastic program. So get ready. It's a lot of fun. We look forward to engaging you and meeting you in person, hopefully very soon. We look forward to sort of getting to know you outside of the classroom. And so while I see you in the classroom throughout your curriculum, throughout the 4 years, a lot of my work is done outside of the classroom. So as you enter the program, if you have any concerns at any time, know that I'm your advocate. I'm here to advocate for you and your needs. And if you have life challenges, and life challenges could be related to family, could be related to health, it could be related to academic accommodations. If you have any concerns, like, I hope that you will learn very quickly that I'm quite approachable. So please come to me let's have discussions, let's talk, and let's be proactive. So if you know you have a family, I always say life challenge. If you have a life challenge, like, don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to jump on a Zoom call with you and speak with you further about any of those challenges as they arrive. I'd much rather be proactive as opposed to reactive as you enter the program. So get ready for a fun 4 years. We love our students and we get to know them very well, and we can't wait to meet you guys. And we're super excited that you're joining our family.
Absolutely. And to kind of go off of that, I think something that you've heard students say all summer long, you've heard our faculty and staff say, you know, we are a family. We pride ourselves on the community that we have. So utilizing orientation to kind of build the community. I know you guys have been pretty quiet in these Zoom meetings the past few weeks, but it's going to be really important for you guys to engage. And during orientation, we're going to try to pull you out of your comfort zone a little bit and get you used to what it means to build a community virtually. And we've been doing a lot of work this summer in trying to develop our orientation program to allow you to have that experience. So take advantage of it. Like Dean Sandifer said, we love our students. You can tell we're passionate about our students and their success and really the community that we build. And I know Justin, who's also on our call, our student affairs counselor, has worked all summer long also to help try to build that community. So anything that you guys also want to see, or you may have seen your undergrad institutions or your graduate institutions doing at the end of last year when everyone went virtual that you want to bring to the table, please let us know. We are open to trying new things and really trying to bring you guys together. And I know your cohort, I know a lot of our student ambassadors have said orientation was the time their cohort came together. So we're going to be working to develop some of those programs, and you should have seen in your orientation schedule there are a few sessions for your cohort, some social events. So we are working, and we hope that you are engaged, but those sessions are only going to be as successful as you help us make them. So your participation is definitely going to be required. So take today as your last quiet Zoom session that you'll probably have for the remainder of your virtual learning. Some people are doing questions below. But yeah, so I think it's something that we really pride ourselves on, and this virtual learning is throwing a little bit of a hiccup into that, but we're working, and I think there's some really awesome opportunities for us to give you guys that experience. And like I said last week, your cohort is going to come out of this with a story that no other cohort has. You're the only cohort that's starting completely virtually. We've had students who have shared their stories of, what happened to them during an exam, or who video bombed their Zoom session. My daughter is always video bombing or screaming in the background. So those are experiences that no other cohort has, and they're stories they'll have to share with each other when you're back in person fully as a cohort. So just find the silver lining in all of this, and that's what we've been trying to do, and I think there's a lot of opportunity.
So one of the quick things that I will mention, because I know you guys are listening, though I don't see a lot of your faces. So my classes are all in person. So there's a couple of different types of learning. So there's virtual, there's online learning where it's synchronous and asynchronous. So all my classes will be real time. So as we enter the first Monday, if you need to get out of bed and fix your hair or whatever, but my classes are all full camera on. So if you have an issue with your camera, I need to know about it prior to, but I expect to see everyone's faces in all my classes. And I think many of your faculty members are. So if you are someone right now who doesn't have their camera on for whatever reason, totally fine. Not totally fine during the week of orientation, not fine in my classes, and not fine in many of your other classes. So some people say virtual learning just sort of happens in the cloud, in the universe, and not so much with me. So the class that I'll be leading you through is all about engaging you outside of the classroom. And for all those, I need to see you. I want to put faces with names. I need that for myself so that I'm not just talking to these boxes. So as we enter next week, let's all anticipate being on camera and fully engaged throughout. I always tell students as they embark, and I will remind you on Monday as you embark on orientation in a few weeks, that this is your time to recreate yourself. So none of us know you, and none of you know us. And so if you want to change something about the way you learn, the way you present yourself, the way you interact with your peers, this is the time to do it. This is a graduate professional program, so our expectations of you and our faculty's expectations of you are that you're a professional. And so whatever professional means to you as of orientation, you should be willing to bring that to the table. So again, super excited to meet you guys. Do want you to realize that this is a different type of program than an undergraduate program. So as you're prepping and as you're scheduling and as you're planning your early mornings or late sleep in mornings, when classes are in session, classes are in session. And so please be willing to be engaged. I don't want you to get, and I say those because I know if I can see you, oftentimes when I'm teaching a class, I'll see what people are doing. And if I see kids in the background, I say hello to the kids, I say hello to the family members. I'm engaging, but I'm watching. So I want to make sure that you're fully engaged. And in those classes that I'm leading, I will do that in the background and I'll say, oh, what's so funny? I see something that's really funny. So anticipate being engaged starting next week. In your education. This is all for you. Many of us, Trish, Justin, and I, we've had our chance to have our educational experiences. Some of us are still pursuing educational endeavors, but now this is your time to really shine and bring yourself to this new program. So get ready to have a lot of fun and to complete a lot of work.
We had a few questions come in about the math placement. They were sent to me privately. So your math placement exam that's taken during orientation, one of our faculty members will give you an overview. That will occur, I believe it is on Monday. Let me just pull up my schedule.
While Trisha's looking for the schedule for that, there is nothing to study for in your math placement. So you would do yourself a disservice if you study for any type of the math placement. We want to meet you where you are. So if you need extra attention in certain areas, allow yourself to be honest with the assessment. Don't go and study. Don't try to work the system. This is not, no one knows your score. No one knows any of those things. So this is for you, but we need to intervene at some point. And so allow us to have the raw data. So again, your math placement should not cause any stress. You shouldn't be worried about it. You shouldn't think twice about it. You should just perform at your best. And then let us intervene so that we can place you in the appropriate section so that you can grow in your studies.
So the math placement overview, it'll be a pre-recorded session, but then at 12:45 on Monday, there'll be an overview with the faculty member who administers that exam. So you can ask all your questions then. The pre-recorded session will walk you through how to set up your account on the software that's used for that exam. Like Dean Sennefer said, there's no preparation for it. You'll do yourself a disservice if you do try to prepare for it. And then on Wednesday, so you'll have that session next week, the pre-recorded session, so you can start reviewing it. You'll have your Q&A, and then on Wednesday morning, so you get a full day and a half to kind of look over everything, make sure you're comfortable with the software. That's when that assessment will occur. So that will be happening on Wednesday at 9 a.m. And then that's it. That's all that will occur from that. And then from there, you'll be placed into a couple of classes based on your scores. They don't affect anything else. You're still taking the same classes. It doesn't put you behind academically. It just allows the faculty members to kind of provide you the resources that you need based on your math levels and where you are. Some students have had more math background than others. Some students come in having taken calculus, and other students have come in taking just some of the basic maths. So just make sure that you take that exam honestly and don't prepare. I think that's the biggest piece. So there's nothing that you need to worry about for that.
This is the only exam that you don't have to prepare for over the next 4 years. Other questions?
Yeah. So I know you received the schedule. Some of you joined the town hall last week with Dean Sennefer and Dean Alvatroni, where we talked about the upcoming year. So any questions that you have, any concerns that you have, anything that we can address, we're here for that. So if you need to, do we need to sign
So the
orientation from the iPad. Go ahead.
So you don't need to sign in to orientation from your iPad specifically. For most sessions, if you have another device, you can use that device. If your device that you're currently using doesn't have a camera, your iPad does have a camera. So therefore, I would request that you use your iPad. So it is up to you. I think what you'll see, and I'm sure you heard in your technology sessions with students, is oftentimes students will, especially if you're going to be watching videos online, they will have one device. If you have two devices or a phone, you'll use one device to watch the lecture and one device to take notes or to annotate on the slides, if you will. So it's really up to you. You're not required to use the iPad for orientation. However, your first exam, you will be required to use your iPad. So I always get the question from students, I already have an iPad, do I have to use this one? You don't have to use it, but there's no giving it back, if you will. So whenever you receive it, it's your iPad. So feel free to do with it as you choose. We give you this iPad because we want all students to be at the same level of technology. So if we have to push something out, we're able to do that. So we can guarantee that user experience is seamless. Again, your exams will be on your iPad. So in your first few weeks, you'll be taking some practice exams just to sort of get familiar with how to take exams on iPads. That there's a bit of a learning curve for a lot of students, but we will introduce those nuances to you prior to your first exam.
Absolutely. I received that same question via email over the weekend. My only other thing, along with just trying to make sure that all the students have the same experience, if you have a technical issue, let's say, taking notes or something with your iPad and you're not using the university issued iPad, it makes it a little bit more difficult for us to troubleshoot. So we know which iPad everyone received so that all of the technical issues are for the same iPad. So if your iPad doesn't have an updated software, or it's an older model that may be running a little slower, and then you try to use one of, Access Pharmacy or Exemplify, it's going to make it difficult if you have run into an issue for us to troubleshoot it because it's not the device that we provided you. So that would be my only piece of advice.
So I do have the exact iPad. So it's an Apple 10.2 inch 7th generation with 128 gigabytes. So that's the iPad that you will be receiving. So 7th generation. So if that one supports the pen and the writing device, you have to check it out. I think it does. I'm looking at an invoice and not the actual device itself. So again, it's a 7th generation iPad. See, there's another question about textbooks recommended for each course. So I think you'll quickly learn that most courses, we have Access Pharmacy. So many of the texts and many of the required readings will come through an online database that we provide to you. That's part of your technology fee. So at this point, there's no textbooks that need to be purchased. I will say one piece of advice or coaching would be when I meet with students around the midpoint, I often meet with students during the midpoint if they're struggling with courses. One of the first questions I typically ask the students is, are you reading your textbooks? Are you reading complementary articles? 99.9% of the time students say no. It's because you have so much content coming at you. This is what you have to take from this piece of advice is, if you don't understand the way content's being presented in the classroom, you need to have an additional resource to support your learning. So at this point, you're a professional graduate student. Whatever information is presented and that you don't understand, you have to take it upon yourself to learn that information. So you need a complementary material. Texts and articles can normally provide that, but when people are struggling, they say, I don't have time to read, I don't. And so I encourage you, for the areas where you don't understand, to find the supportive material. That could be YouTube videos, it could be related articles, but you at this point in your studies, you're responsible for learning the content. And saying that, I also challenge you guys, and you'll hear me say this again probably throughout orientation, when you need to meet with a faculty member to reinforce content or to learn content differently, you have to go into your faculty members at this level and let them know what you don't understand. You can't go in and say, I don't understand cardiology. What part of cardiology don't you understand? Or what part of calculations don't you understand? So when you go into these one-on-one meetings with your faculty members, make sure that you have almost drafted your questions out prior to, but have specific questions, because the faculty members don't know what you don't know. So just sort of be cognizant of that. But to answer your question about textbooks, you don't have textbooks at this point. If you ever required reading, your faculty members will let you know, but oftentimes it's in the online database that we will be providing to you, which is huge. So you're not carrying all these textbooks around during the day.
Another question that I received via email, or I spoke to someone over the phone, was about iPad cases and keyboards. So I just want to mention that it's fine for you to get the cases and keyboards, but when you're taking your exams, you can't use a Bluetooth keyboard. You have to be comfortable typing on the iPad. A lot of our students will have cases with keyboards for note-taking and during class time, which is fine. But exam-wise, you are not going to be able to use the keyboard. And then when we're back in person, whenever that time may be that we resume in-person exams and we're all together as a cohort, those cases need to be completely removed. So whatever you're buying, just make sure that it's something that every Monday you're comfortable taking off and putting back on. I know some students were asking about the model of the iPad for that as well. So just something to mention, that our exam policy in person is that there are no cases on your iPads, and that you shouldn't be using, you won't be able to use the keyboards either.
These are all good questions. Other questions, you guys can feel free to throw them in the group chat. Also feel free to unmute yourself and ask us questions.
So the so a question just came in about the pre-recorded sessions. So the pre-recorded sessions, instead of having our presenters during orientation record those sessions directed toward orientation specifically, instead of having our presenters present to you and then have Q&A, which would have taken at least an hour and a half, 2 hours per session, what we've done is gone ahead and had most of our presenters create a video. They've presented that with their slides. We will be then uploading that to YouTube and also to the RX Engage software, and I will be providing you a walkthrough video either the end of this week or very early next week that will walk you through how to access orientation through RX Engage, how to access those videos, where to follow along. And then during orientation, we really wanted to make the most of the presenter's time and of your time by making those sessions. The expectation is that you've already reviewed those pre-recorded videos. So that half-hour session with the presenters should really be used for question and answer, and for the presenters to kind of review anything that they deem is important or anything that they deem needs clarification. So utilize those sessions, because you'll have those presenters there really just for the purpose of answering your questions for 30 minutes. There are some sessions throughout that you'll see, if it doesn't have a notation underneath it that says that there'll be a pre-recorded session, those sessions will be a live session. But even if you watch the pre-recorded session, you are expected to attend the Q&A, because there might be a question that someone else has that maybe you have as well, you just don't feel comfortable asking. So please make sure that you're watching those. Those will be up and live no later than August 14th, which will give you the full weekend to review those sessions. And the sessions aren't long. I think the longest one I have right now is about a half hour, and then they go from anywhere from 15 minutes to a half hour. So the sessions aren't long, but there is a lot of material. So again, I said it a few times in the previous sessions, I think it's going to be a benefit to your cohort, because you have the presenter sessions recorded that you can go back and review anytime you want. So if Dean Rifkin is reviewing something about your curriculum, previously the students kind of had to just absorb that session, ask their questions, and retain it. You guys will be able to do that, but you'll also be able to ask those questions. Once she answers those questions, you'll be able to go back and review those sessions again to find specific information that you're looking for, maybe that you want to reread. So I think it's actually a perk of the way that we're running orientation this year, because you'll have that material throughout your whole first year. We're going to keep that up in your class page and in those events, so you'll be able to access those at any time.
So, and I don't know if that refers to the general classes. So some of your classes will run in the same format, where there may be lectures that you watch and then you meet in small groups to do Q&A. There may be live sessions. So again, all my classes will be live sessions. In my classes, and I'll remind you this, I will, at the end of the class, I take attendance for my classes, and everyone's allowed to miss one time out of the semester. After the one time, you write a 20-page paper or you take a year off. And so that's always up to you. But there's also in the Zoom software, there's a way for us to determine engagement. So if I see your face, but then if there's zero engagement because you're on another device, I'm able to sort of determine those things. So as you're going into your classes, like, be engaged, be active. Like, there's only 27 out of probably 85 students who are in this forum. So I'm already picking up on, like, who do I see? Who have I seen before in my other session? So this is your time to really set yourself apart, to sort of, ask those questions. Like, at this point, I don't know, I think sometimes education can be a bit about politics. So I've seen some of your faces before, and I've seen some of your photos before. So I know that you're engaged in your learning, and that's what I want to see as one of your faculty members and as one of your deans. So please go into your sessions, watch them, have good questions, like, set yourself apart from the get-go. Like, don't wait till you get into your first class to set yourself apart. Like, you have all of orientation. So especially, you're going to have access to all the deans, which may be quite untraditional from what you're accustomed to. But when we have our sessions, when we're reviewing information, like, come with questions. Like, otherwise it's just sort of us talking at you guys, and I don't say lecturing, but come with questions. Set yourself apart from day one of orientation. Slides being downloadable for classes. So that's a common question we get. And so I want to manage your expectation, and I want to give you a real world answer. So there's two parts to the question. So most of the time, slides are provided prior to a class. Students often will get frustrated because they don't get the slides at the time that they would prefer. So you need to understand that it's not an expectation from the university or from the school that our faculty members provide downloadable slides. Out of the goodness of their hearts and out of the goodwill, they normally do. Some students will find that they're taking notes on and annotating on slides, and then the faculty member will update a slide, and then we'll throw things off. So my managing your expectation is yes, slides will be provided. Are they going to be provided within your time frame of what you expect? That's the real question that's being asked, and not always. But chances are your slides will be provided. Some faculty members will leave things out of slides. So some first-year students get very frustrated because they're like, well, the faculty member didn't have it in their slides. So that could be a teaching method, right? So I want to make sure that you're engaged. So I'm leaving things out of my slides to see if you're picking up and if you're engaged. So slides, there's no standard format of slides and what we provide. Slides are all different, providing all different formats. For my classes, chances are there's not a lot of slides unless there's an outside presenter, because I want to see you engaged. I want to engage with the content with you. So oftentimes I don't provide slides because they're just not needed. But most classes will provide slides, but you have to understand that it's not always within your time frame. Good question though. So the question is, when will we receive our course schedule to know what days we have to come in for our in-person classes? So this is the question of the hour for everyone, and it changes every hour. So I'm going to dodge your question a little bit and say we don't have it fully yet. So we are in the process of registering you for classes. Your first 3 weeks are online, and so your class schedule will be provided during orientation, so you'll know where date, time, location of where you're going to be for the first 3 to 4 weeks. At that time, this course schedule may change. So for those who chose in person, there will be a 1 day a week when you come in. That day will be provided to you. But everyone should anticipate being in classes really Monday through Thursday, probably around 8:30 And actually, I think you may have a few things on Fridays, if I remember correctly, the last version of the schedule, until about 4:20. So what I don't want to hear happen, and it will happen with some of you because I know your behaviors very well, is because we're online doesn't mean that you should be working more. So if you currently have a place of employment and you're thinking, this is great, I'm only in class 1 day a week, I can work the other 6 days of the week, that is the wrong approach. And very few students will be successful if you choose that. So please don't look at these open dates as days where you can devote to other things, to other family obligations. These are days when you should be engaging with the content. Otherwise, you are going to get so far behind. So I don't have your daily schedule. Your daily schedule as you mentally prepare should be Monday through Thursday around 8:30 to 4:30 in your first year. Not the answer that you want to hear. It's not, I understand, but I want to manage your expectations, and the expectation that you should start setting for yourself is that that's your schedule. You'll also know about I think you have an exam week 4. I'm almost positive. You have first 4 or 5, and what you will do is you're going to think the first 3 or 4 weeks are awesome. You love this place. Like, we are the best school you could have ever chosen. And then week 4 happens and you have your first exam. And then you're going to start regretting that you didn't devote more time and energy those first 3 weeks when you were watching the Kardashians or having fun outside the classroom. After week 4, all you can do is catch up with the next exam. So the great thing about this is, in the past, we haven't recorded these sessions. And so now we have a recording. So year 4 or year 3, when we're reconvening, I'm going to replay this message and you're going to know that I told you this. Students' behaviors really don't change. What you're going to see is after week 4, you're only going to be able to study for that one class that's coming up the following Monday. So your whole week is going to be just, you're going to play catch up. And many students never get out of the cycle of just playing catch up for the upcoming Monday exam. So I tell you that please don't waste your first 3 to 4 weeks because you don't have an exam. Don't think that you have extra time to work. Don't think that you have free time to do family obligations. You should. And you're not listening to me. I know you're not going to. You're going to regret it though. And I promise you're going to say you were right. Even our 4.0 students have come back to me and said, I remember in orientation when you told us to not get behind, and we all did it. And we wish we'd have listened to you. So my own piece of advice is please don't get behind those first 4 weeks. You're gonna love pharmacy school the first 4 weeks. Your first exam after that, you're gonna love us still because we're a great program, but you're gonna be challenged just to play catch up. So do we have exams for all classes on the same day, or every Monday will be a different class? So you'll have one exam starting about week 4. I don't have the schedule put up. I think it's week 4. You will have one exam every Monday until you get to your final exam schedule. Your final exam schedule, there may be a reading day this year, and then you will start your exams. But we minimize your exams in your first year to every Monday. Now, there may be occasionally a time when you have an in-class exam in your first year. That has happened in the past. I don't think that they're there anymore. Very, very occasionally, there will be an exam during a class time, maybe once a semester for a first-year student, but I think that they've been eliminated. In your second year, exams will be every Monday for your core classes, your core pharmacy. If you elect into a dual degree, which we will explore in my class in the spring semester, if you elect into a dual degree, we don't have control over those exam schedules. So that will be up for you to decide with the program or whatever the faculty member says. But throughout your pharmacy tenure, you will only have exams on Monday. And it's one exam per Monday. But what does that mean? So that means that week 4, when you have that exam, you may only have that exam and your final. You may get to week 6 and have 6 weeks of content, and that's your first exam. So you may only have 1 or 2 exams per semester if you take out the weeks. If you look at the schedule, it's impossible to have a perfect exam schedule. So those exams, ideally in a 12-week semester, you would have an exam every 4 weeks for every class, right? That's not the way it works. So you may go into your first exam in week 7 and you've had 7 weeks of content. And that's what I mean. Like, it's so hard to keep up. So you spend that week 6 preparing for exam on Monday of week 7, and all you can do is study for that one exam, because you're rewatching videos, you're taking notes, you're going back and having small groups of online discussion. So it's really difficult if you don't keep up starting from week 1. I think that's most of my questions. Trish, do you have questions on your?
There was a question about when they receive their schedule, if they will be notified of which day they have to come in for in-person.
So I would assume that you're going to get that. So you're going to get that within the first few weeks, so that you will know. Yeah, that's my only answer. You're going to get it soon. Part of it's based on your math assessment, and sort of what your math assessment's going to sort of place you into a certain group or a certain cohort that you'll travel with for a few classes. So there's a lot of external factors. We normally can do the in-person exam during orientation and have everything quickly modified. You will, at this point, most likely you will be given your class schedule minimized to the 1 day if you've opted for in-person. And for those students who haven't completed the survey the survey from Dean Albertroni, we need you to complete that. There's still a few outstanding surveys. If you haven't submitted, if you prefer online or in person, then we have to assume that you're going to be in person. So we're trying to set the classroom for social distancing and safety protocols. So we're trying to minimize as many safety protocol on our end as possible, but we really need you guys to partner with us to give us what your intention is. And I say your intention because your intention can change based on lots of different circumstances, but we need to know what you anticipate doing come the fall semester. The online schedule that you received last week, is it going to change after orientation? So, full disclosure, I don't know which schedule you guys received. So talk to me, Maria, a bit. Did Dean Rifkin send you that? Can you put who sent you the schedule? Or speak out? Anyone? Did everyone receive the schedule?
I just received an online schedule for like 4 days a week. Yeah.
Perfect. Got it. Thank you, Haggard. I hope that's correct pronunciation. So the schedule that you got last week, yes. So that's the schedule that you're going to be following as your online schedule for the first 3-ish weeks. And so that's what we'll follow after school starts. After we get everything, your schedule may change. So the colored schedule with the green, if I remember correctly, was green, yellow, and blue. That schedule will change after we go back to the in-person. If you continue to go online, there will be a track, and if you're in person, there's a track. What we need to know right now is basically what people's choices are, because we need to know if we need to have 2 sections or 3 sections. So it's 50-50, and we have 50 students who want in person and 50 who want online, then we can probably break those where it looks like there's 3 breakout sessions right now. Those could be possibly reduced to 2. So the schedule that you did receive from Dean Albertroni, that is the schedule we will be following. There has been no modifications to that schedule, and I don't anticipate any modifications to the online portion of the schedule. I could anticipate changes to the colored section of the schedule, depending on the responses of your cohort. But right now, those are the schedules that we are going with. We would give you a couple of weeks notice if there was a change in schedule. Good questions.
Other question was, how many times do we have quizzes every week? And that varies based on the class. Some faculty members will, supplement their exams with quizzes to help you kind of reinforce the materials, and then other faculty members may not give quizzes at all. So that's all going to be dependent on the faculty members and the classes. it should be noted in your syllabus, and you can ask them at that point. But during that first week of classes, make sure that you are asking your faculty members those questions. There's no set times for how many quizzes or how often quizzes are given or what day or time. So the only thing that's set that the university or that our program oversees is really just that every Monday you're given one exam, and that exam is at 9 a.m., 8:30 a.m., whichever the time is. It changes sometimes from semester to semester. Around 9 a.m. every Monday you'll have an exam. So that's the only thing that's consistent. Other than that, the quizzes, your readings, your slides, how many slides, how detailed the slides are, that's all going to be case by case and faculty member to faculty member.
So there is a love-hate relationship with quizzes, I will tell you. So every cohort is different, and every year we change based on the feedback of the cohort, and then the next cohort doesn't like it. So I don't know at what cycle we're at with your cohort, but there's two groups of students when it comes to quizzes. Those who like quizzes because they keep you up on your readings and your material, so it forces you to sort of stay up. And then there's the love-hate. People hate them because they have to study for them, but then appreciate them because they know what to expect on exams. So there's not a perfect solution. And I promise you, if you have too many quizzes, half your cohort won't like that. And then if you have too few quizzes, the other half isn't going to like that. So every year we try to modify based on students' feedback. I personally think that the more quizzes, the better. And with us being online, I think that keeps you up on your readings, keeps you up on the material, allows you to ask questions and identify deficiencies early on. So I would assume, given the online format, that there would be a little bit more, a few more assessments than normal when with regard to quizzes and assessments. There may be some online polling, there may be some real-time class questions that are happening, but I think that in your cohort, I think that the more, the better. And I think that with actually all cohorts, because it forces you to study. Otherwise, you're only studying for that one exam at the upcoming week. So when we have focus groups, so Dina, Watroni, and I will meet with you guys all individually for lunch or breakfast throughout your first year. So when we meet with you, these are the type of things that we'll talk about. And quizzes it's always a hot topic. So if you've gotten a lot of quizzes throughout the year, you hate quizzes. If you haven't gotten a lot and you needed to have more reinforcement because you weren't a self-learner and you need a little bit more prompting, then you'll say, oh, we should have been giving more quizzes. So it's a 50-50. You guys are asking good questions. There are going to be Zoom links to join the classes. Absolutely. So for the first 3 weeks, you are going to be given weekly schedules. So it will be the same schedule as what you've received, but it will have Zoom links in it. So for my course, I think it's with you guys, I think it's 10:30 on Mondays. It's right after your exams. I plan to anticipate posting my syllabus this weekend, and all my Zoom links are already in the syllabus, Zoom link and password. So I don't have to send out weekly email reminders. It's all there. It will be probably in your weekly digest of Zoom meetings, but you have mine all in advance. I don't want to have to bombard you with emails throughout the semester. So some of your faculty may do what I've done, and some of them may send it to you on a weekly basis. I think a lot of people are probably on hold because we're waiting to see how many sections of each course. My course we meet as a whole cohort. So there will be 80 to 90 of you in one meeting. So for mine, it was a little bit easier for me to just push out those Zoom links. But they're going to, most likely, Maria, to answer your question, there's going to be two formats, one possibly in the syllabus and then one on a weekly schedule. And I think you should expect the weekly schedules for as long as we're online. Good, Chris, question. Other things you guys want to know?
About 5-10 minutes left. So any questions that you guys have about orientation, beginning the school year, anything at all, don't hesitate to ask. You should have the ability to unmute yourself. So if you want to speak up, you can. Question just came in. Go ahead.
So I see a question about the white coat ceremony. Another great question. So there's a couple of different philosophies on white coats, and you guys are going to be the first group where our philosophy changes just a bit. So you really don't need your white coat in your first year. So we are going to opt to move white coat to the end of the spring semester. So in the past, we have done white coats to start the semester, and we may see that as a possibility moving after this semester if we see that it's not the right thing to do. I actually think white coat at the end of the first year is a great time for us to celebrate your first year of finishing your curriculum. It's a great time to bring your families into the community, which your families would be invited to the white coat pre the semester starting. But I think the plan is right now, and I first see it being the new normal process. White coat will happen at the end of your first year prior to going into your first experiential rotation. The only time you needed your white coat in the first year other than that would have been lab and in my class. So in my class, students always wear their white coats. I always tell you, and you'll hear this on repeat during orientation, but since there's not all of you here, I want people to always see you at your best. And I think people act a little bit differently when they're in their white coats and they stand a little bit taller and they're just a little bit more professional. So in my class, I bring a lot of outside people in, and I always want people to see you at your best. And so I think that presents the best. So in my classes and your labs are the only time you would have needed it your first year. So I think that to answer your question, you'll see that at the end of the first year. Good questions. Now you guys are getting talkative. This is my type of group. Is the 6-week winter session fully online? Yes, it is. And those courses have been strategically planned, and we're still in the works of doing a little bit. The goal would be to give you a break during that time of some sort. Now, I'm not going to say a break means a week, 2 weeks, what the break is, but our goal is to give you a break at some point during that intersession. So we are still trying to identify what the best plan of action is. You guys don't see it because you haven't been through the curriculum, but this is, and I said it in our dean's meeting with Dean Albertroni and myself, this is a huge win for your cohort. That you have no idea how much of a win it is that we're moving courses into the winter, because it's reducing your classes during the fall semester. And your fall semester, it's just tough for a lot of people. It's not the coursework that's tough, it's your adjustment that's tough. So there's a lot of things that go into your first semester. So moving these courses, these 6-week courses to the intersession is a huge win. It's a win that I think we should continue for the rest of time. I think it's a really good option that you guys are experiencing, but in saying that, we know that you need a break and you're going to need a break. So we are going to build in as much of a break as we can during that 6 week, but hopefully the courses that are placed in that session are a little, and I hate to say this, but a little less rigorous. So I hope that building the courses we put there allow you to have some free time to sort of get back to, have a little time to relax and unwind. Orientation is Monday through Friday, Trish?
Orientation will be Monday through Thursday. So we've planned the sessions. They should run planned to be around from about 9 a.m. to about 2:30 p.m. every day, with the exception of Thursday, where we have a 5:30 session with our clinical faculty members. So that session is going to allow you to meet some of our clinical faculty members who are out in rotations. They're out at various hospitals and locations throughout the state. So sometimes it's hard to get them all together, especially for our first year students. And they participate usually in Into the Streets, which is a service component of our orientation, which we unfortunately had to remove this year. So to allow them that access and ability to meet you from day one, we've added that session. So that's the only session that's after 2 p.m. That'll be at 5:30, and that'll be Monday through Thursday. Friday, we'll just be announcing the most involved student for orientation, and the Welcome Wednesdays, we're going to make an announcement along with, there's going to be, again, like I said, some social activities. There's going to be some winners of those that we'll make some announcements on that day, but nothing that you need to log into. That'll all be done via social media. I see another question about the orientation links. will send us to assign. So the orientation schedule that was sent out, there are links already embedded in that document, which you can go ahead and register for sessions. So those are all the sessions. The ones with stars next to them are optional sessions. I highly recommend them, especially if you fall into one of the specialty student populations or it's an area of interest of yours. So we have some sessions about dual degree, research, service learning, and then if you're a 3 to 4 student, we have a session for you as well. So go ahead and register for those now, and you can put them on your calendar. We'll also be putting together a full schedule in RX Engage, which you can follow along there, and the links will be there as well. So there'll be more than one place that you can find those links if you lose that document or lose my email. So don't worry about that. But that email should have been sent to you. So please make sure that you check your email for that. And in addition to that, just to go off, if you are not checking your FDU email regularly, at this point, you need to be checking it, I would say, at least once a day. I personally have been using your personal emails and your FDU emails, but come orientation, I will only be using your FDU emails moving forward. I've only been doing that because we still have had some students who have been depositing and have been added to your roster. And I wanted to make sure that they got the information as well. So it's just easier for me to copy everybody's personal and FDU emails. But I know Dean Alvatroni, the survey that we're referencing, was sent out to your FDU email specifically. So please make sure that you're checking that email so that you're not missing out on important information. Any updates about the university's reopening, any updates about your course schedules, or emails from your faculty members are all going to be coming through your FDU email. So please make sure you're checking that.
One thing with email while we're on that, so as you guys will learn this in your first semester, but as you email us back also, if you, in particular, if you email me, can you just put your class of 2023, 24, or you're a P1 student, just so that I know we have about 320 students, and by year 4, I know all your faces and names. Year 1, I know your first and last name, and I'm learning to put your names and faces together. So just let us know who you are. I will only answer emails from your FDU email. If it comes from XYZ at Yahoo or Gmail, I will not answer it. So I will, most often I will send it back and say, please, respond using your FDU email. But after orientation Monday, we won't be using those addresses anymore. So please, like Trish said, connect with your FGU email. There's a question that Aisha has about teaching. We come to teach on the 14th. Are all classes going to be one class, or we'll be moving in different classes? So there's going to be a combination. So for my class, we meet all as one cohort. It will be virtual. My class will be virtual throughout the semester. So we will not be having any in-person meetings for my class. Mondays you're not going to be on campus, so you'll just be logging in. So some classes after September 14th, they may break up, and that's what we're talking about earlier. Like they may be broken into sections. What doesn't make sense is to have a combination of online and in-person students in the same cohort. So we need to sort of break those up and parse those out. So again, some classes will be meeting in big groups, and then you may have a breakout session to go to, and some may just be solely small groups and then solely online. So there's going to be a combination. Do you need IDs for access? So once we are back in the building, you will need IDs for access. So if you were lucky enough to take a tour of the building early on, you'll know that everything about our building is about safety and security. So students will have IDs to get into the building. You show your IDs to get into past security. The classroom doors are all key entry, and so you will have access to some of those. So once we are back in person, you will need to get your ID. Obviously, we will be patient for a few days as we get those turned around, but you will need those IDs. Speaking of identification, so we don't really have guests on campus. So if you have a guest, or if you anticipate for whatever reason having a need for one of your loved ones to come into the building, I need to know in advance so that I can alert our security team of who to expect. But traditionally, we do not allow anyone who's not an FDU student into the building. We even have people who sometimes will drop people off and come back, or they'll need to use the restroom. We redirect them into building 200, where there's a small cafe and restrooms there, but we don't really allow just anyone into the building for numerous reasons, as you can imagine. But your IDs, yes, you will need. Will every Monday exam take place 6 weeks in? So you should expect Monday exams. I don't think that your exams will be at other times. So I would anticipate exams. I wouldn't say the key there, Rashid, is I don't think that you're going to have an exam every week, but I would assume that when you have exams throughout those 6 weeks, that they would be on Mondays. So in the classes where you don't wear white coats, is there a dress code? So this is another great question. So this is your time to market yourself. There's not really a dress code. And you'll see many of us that are pretty informal for the most part, but this is a new you. We don't know you, you don't know us. Oftentimes when you see me, I'll be in a very similar outfit every day because I hate deciding what I'm going to wear. But this is your time to reinvent yourself. So if you want to be a different person that you have been in the past, then sure. People, you need to know your audience. And as you have certain meetings, as you have certain presentations, yeah, you need to make sure you're presenting yourself to the best of what you see as the best. So this is one of those questions that's sort of different for every single person. So there's not a specific dress code other than white coats at certain times, but you just want to take this opportunity because in day one, even before day one, so like the people that I can sort of see right now, like this is your interview. So like you're interviewing, we're connecting you with people. As I hear that Clara's looking for an internship or Hager's looking to do something in this arena, like I can start pointing you in those directions, but your relationship starts with us right now. So just, I guess, take advantage of that because it does start right now. So we're starting to recognize who you are, and so there's no dress code. Just present yourself to the best of your ability. You are a professional. It is a professional program. I will say this, I've had students, and this has been one of the best compliments, is you'll have people in your classroom that other people emulate. So I've had students to come to me and say, when we're talking about professionalism, like who in your cohort is professional? They're like, I just wish I could be like XYZ. And it's because that person always carried themselves in such a professional manner. So it's really, you guys are your toughest critics. Like Justin, Trish, and I are all pretty low key and relaxed for the most part, but you guys will be your biggest critics. And I think you'll look upon yourself and look upon your peers to sort of emulate. So no dress code, but just keep it professional. And you never know who you are going to meet that day. So if I'm walking through the hall and if I'm introducing you, or if I see someone and they pull you and say, hey, meet so-and-so, they're from XYZ. And we're known to do those things as we're showing people around. And so you always just want to be sort of seen at your best.
Question about registering for orientation. So yes, use your FDU email because that is going to be how we pull attendance. So so RX Engage, the system that we had you log into, invited you to a class page, that pulls your information based on your email address. So if you register with your Gmail account or your iCloud account, when I go and import the attendance, you're not going to populate. So make sure you're registering with your FDU email. There should be something when you go to Zoom that says log in with SSO. That's your single sign-on, that's your orientation, that's your email address rather, sorry. You can also go directly to fdu.zoom.us. I'm gonna put that down here. And that will automatically bring you to FDU's page, Zoom page, and that'll bring you to your FDU login. So that'll force you to log in the same as you do with your email. So please make sure that you're registering through email. The same with your classes. If faculty members are just exporting the registration links as their attendance, you're not going to show up as attended unless you log in with your FDU email. So make sure that I know some of you have logged into these using your personal emails. Moving forward for orientation, if you're not logged in with your FDU email, you're not going to have receive credit. The same with our co-curricular programming that we offer throughout the year. If you don't have your FDU email, we can't verify phone numbers, we can't verify personal email addresses, so just make sure you're using that FDU email. Last question we have here is, are there any labs during the first semester?
That's a great, you're passing that to me. I am not looking at your schedule right now. I apologize, Clara. I am not sure. you guys have, Hagar, what does your schedule say? I know you showed me your schedule. Oh, it's just the numbers. All right, thanks, Hagar. I don't know offhand. I'm sorry. We will let you know. I don't know. I'm stumped. I'm not normally stumped. I don't know.
I could give you like the course number. I have those.
And so I am not in. So you guys will memorize these course numbers, and you're going to say 6101, 6102, and I always have to say, well, what is that class? Because I have not memorized the class numbers, so I'm not sure. If there is a lab, we will let you know. I want to say that your lab is in the spring. I'm almost positive you don't have a lab until the spring. I could be wrong. We'll follow up though. During orientation, we definitely will know. Other questions? I think we're about out of time, but if anyone has any last minute questions, Trish and I will stick around, and Justin. So if you guys have any questions you didn't feel comfortable asking, feel free to stay behind. If not, thank you guys for joining us today. It was good to see some of your faces and some of your photos. So we hope to get to know you even more in the coming weeks. I hope you guys are excited as we are to introduce and welcome a new cohort of students into the program. So with that said, we'll see you in a few weeks.
Week and a half.
Week and a half. It's crazy. The next 4 years are going to fly by.
Thanks,
right.
everyone. And thank you all for joining us week after week. I've gotten to know a lot of your faces, a lot of your pictures when you have your cameras off. So thank you for joining us. I hope that these have been beneficial. And we will see you in a week and a half.
Enjoy the next few days.
Awesome. Bye everybody.
Guys.